Today, we witnessed a tactical masterclass from Enzo Maresca as Chelsea secured their first Premier League home win of the season. This 4-2 victory over Brighton at Stamford Bridge was a showcase of Maresca's strategic brilliance and Palmer's outstanding performance, with Palmer scoring all 4 goals. The win propels Chelsea to 4th place in the league, just 3 points behind the top spot. But how exactly did Maresca outsmart Brighton? Welcome to Chelsea Tactical View, your go-to channel for detailed breakdowns of Chelsea's matches. If you're a fan of tactical insights, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an analysis. Drop a like if you enjoy the content, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, let's dive into the tactical setups from both teams. Enzo Maresca stuck with his usual 4-2-3-1 formation, with the only change from their previous Premier League match being Malo Gusto replacing Tosin. On the other hand, Fabian Hürzeler's Brighton lined up in a 4-3-3 system. Let's break down how both managers approached the game and how Chelsea came out on top. In possession, Maresca's Chelsea typically adopt a strategy of building play from the back, aiming to progress through the thirds in a controlled and methodical manner. However, Brighton's aggressive high-pressing system forced Chelsea to make slight tactical adjustments to their usual approach. One of the key adaptations involved using goalkeeper Robert Sanchez as an additional outfield player, effectively creating a numerical overload in the defensive phase. By positioning Sanchez in this way, Chelsea stretched the pitch horizontally, with the center-backs splitting wide to occupy the half spaces. This adjustment introduced a back four structure, which made it significantly more difficult for Brighton's forwards to close down passing lanes and apply pressure effectively. The inclusion of the goalkeeper in possession offered Chelsea a numerical advantage during their build-up play, allowing them to bypass Brighton's first pressing line with greater ease. The defenders positioned themselves wider, while the fullbacks pushed higher up the pitch. This tactical movement allowed Chelsea to form passing triangles on either flank, facilitating smoother ball progression and enabling them to switch play using diagonal passes, which disrupted and stretched Brighton's compact pressing structure. As seen here, Sanchez stepped out and effectively operated as a right-sided center-back, enabling Wesley Fofana to move wider and Malo Gusto to push into midfield. Simultaneously, Enzo Fernandez dropped into the left half space, forming what resembled a 4-2-4-1 shape. This tactical reshuffling created a 6v4 numerical superiority in Chelsea's favor, with more passing options available in the build-up phase. By overloading Brighton's press and creating overloads in key areas, Chelsea were able to break through Brighton's pressure with relative ease, advancing the ball into more dangerous areas and maintaining control of possession. Much like Enzo Maresca's Chelsea, Fabian Hürzeler's Brighton also prefer to build from the back when in possession. However, their approach differs in key ways, particularly in how they manipulate space and deal with the opposition's press. Brighton employ their goalkeeper as an additional defender to create an extra passing option during their build-up phase. However, unlike Chelsea, Brighton center-backs don't split as wide. Instead, they stay closer to the goalkeeper, forming a narrow shape in an attempt to bait Chelsea's press and lure their forwards higher up the pitch. This deliberate narrowing of the center-backs compresses the space near their goal, creating a situation where it seems Chelsea's press can easily disrupt Brighton's play. But this is a calculated risk from Hürzeler's side. By drawing Chelsea's attacking players into this compact central area, Brighton aimed to stretch the field vertically and horizontally in other areas. Their fullbacks stay positioned very wide and high up the pitch, acting almost as wingers. This positioning forces Chelsea's wide players, often the fullbacks or wingers, to follow them into wide areas, leaving gaps in the midfield. By pulling Chelsea's players out of position, Brighton seek to open up space in central areas, creating more room for their midfielders to operate. This tactic helps Brighton establish superiority in the middle third, where they can combine short, intricate passes to progress the ball forward. The narrow center backs, combined with the goalkeeper, form a structure that resembles a three-man backline. Meanwhile, the wide and advanced fullbacks stretch the shape, creating what looks like a 5-3-3 formation in possession. This positional play allows Brighton to create numerical overloads in different areas of the pitch. While the defenders and goalkeeper hold possession at the back, Brighton's midfielders drop deeper to receive the ball, often forming a 3v2 or 4v3 situation against Chelsea's pressing midfielders. The full-backs, meanwhile, remain high and wide, dragging Chelsea's wide players out of their defensive positions and creating space for Brighton's central midfielders to exploit with progressive passing moves. This system requires Brighton's goalkeeper to be comfortable with the ball at their feet, acting almost as a sweeper keeper to help recycle possession and reset attacks when necessary. By maintaining composure and creating these positional overloads, Brighton aimed to bypass Chelsea's press and move the ball into more advanced areas, often playing through the middle to exploit the spaces left by Chelsea's pulled-out defensive shape. In attack, Chelsea often capitalized on Brighton's high defensive line by focusing on quick counterattacks. Once Chelsea regained possession, their primary goal was to exploit the space behind Brighton's backline, which was vulnerable due to their advanced positioning. Upon intercepting the ball, Chelsea's players would immediately look to release Noni Madueke on the wing, or find Nicholas Jackson and Cole Palmer making runs through the middle. This counter-attacking strategy utilized the pace, agility, and directness of Chelsea's forwards. By targeting the gaps left by Brighton's high press, Chelsea aimed to break quickly, catching Brighton's defense off balance. Madueke, with his speed and ability to drive forward, often served as the outlet on the flanks, using his dribbling skills to carry the ball into advanced positions. Meanwhile, Jackson and Palmer consistently made intelligent runs into central channels, looking to get in behind the defense and receive through balls in dangerous areas. These quick transitions allowed Chelsea to create goal-scoring opportunities before Brighton could regroup and regain their defensive shape. When Chelsea was not able to hit Brighton on the counterattack, they adopted a more patient, calculated approach, shifting the play wide in an effort to manipulate Brighton's defensive structure. By moving the ball to the flanks, Chelsea aimed to stretch Brighton's defense horizontally, forcing the fullbacks and center-backs to cover more ground. This tactic was intended to create space in the half spaces, those areas between the flanks and central midfield, which are crucial in breaking down a compact defensive line. Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer were instrumental in this phase of play. Both players possess the technical quality, vision, and passing ability needed to unlock defenses. Enzo, with his precise distribution, often switched the play from one flank to the other, attempting to disorganize Brighton's defensive shape. Palmer, on the other hand, offered creativity in the final third, frequently dropping deeper to link up play and acting as a playmaker who could either release a direct runner in behind or find teammates positioned in the half spaces. Chelsea's use of the flanks was not just a matter of stretching the defense. It was also a deliberate attempt to pull Brighton's defenders out of position. When the ball was shifted wide, Brighton's fullbacks and center-backs had to adjust, often leaving gaps in the central areas that Chelsea could exploit. By dragging Brighton's defenders out toward the touchlines, Chelsea created opportunities to overload the half spaces or penetrate through the middle with well-timed runs from midfielders or forwards. This method of attacking allowed Chelsea to vary their play depending on the game situation. When the counter-attack wasn't on, Chelsea patiently built their attacks through sustained possession, looking for the right moment to exploit weaknesses in Brighton's defensive structure. The combination of Enzo's long-range passing and Palmer's movement between the lines made it difficult for Brighton to predict and contain Chelsea's build-up, allowing them to maintain offensive pressure. Once Brighton successfully bypasses Chelsea's high press, They frequently shift the ball to either Kaoru Mitoma on the right flank or Rudder on the left. This tactical move is not merely about progressing the ball, but is specifically aimed at stretching Chelsea's defensive shape horizontally, forcing their backline to cover more ground than they are comfortable with. Brighton's primary objective in these situations is to isolate Chelsea's fullbacks in 1v1 duels, particularly targeting Malo Gusto, who often finds himself out of position due to his aggressive forward movements during Chelsea's attacking transitions. By positioning their wingers wide and executing quick switches of play, Brighton generates several tactical advantages. First, they disrupt Chelsea's compact defensive structure, which typically relies on maintaining a narrow shape to deny central penetration. When the ball is moved rapidly to the flanks, specifically to Mitoma or Rudder, Chelsea's fullbacks are forced into difficult 1v1 situations, often without sufficient support from their center-backs. The center-backs, such as Wesley Fofana and Levi Colwill, are generally reluctant to vacate their central zones, leading to gaps in the defensive line. This stretching of the backline adheres to the principles of positional play, creating spaces between defenders that Brighton can exploit, either with diagonal runs from forwards or late-arriving midfielders joining the attack. Yesterday's Chelsea vs Brighton match was a tactical showdown, with both managers showcasing sharp strategies, each trying to outmaneuver the other. However, Maresca ultimately demonstrated that while good tactics are essential, having a player like Palmer by your side can make the difference in the Premier League. That wraps up today's analysis. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming content. See you in the next video.